spanked. Well, that controversy is a little bit too late, because my dad never heard it. Out of Control, written by Mark Lowry. I grew up in church. My dad was the church deacon. My mom was a church pianist. And I was the church brat. But it wasn't just your normal brat. When people met me, they knew why some animals eat their young. I was so bad, I was sent to a psychiatrist in the 3rd grade. The principal of my school actually told my mother I needed psychiatric help. So one day Mama told me, Mark, you've been chosen out of your whole school to go and take a test. What, dog, Mama? Let's go! The psychiatrist ran these tests on me. She was a very nice lady. She asked me questions about my mom, my dad, and my older brother, Mike. Who's perfect? Perfect people have no right to live. My brother never did anything wrong. He was so perfect, we used his halo as a nightlight. It was sickening. When the psychiatrist finished running her tests on me, she went out to the lobby and told my mother, Mrs. Lai, your boy Mark is normal. What? That test came up normal. Mama was frustrated, but Daddy wasn't frustrated. Daddy found a scripture in Proverbs that says, foolishness is bound up in the heart of a child with a rod of correction will drive it far from him. That changed my life. Daddy started taking God at his word and beating the devil out of me every night. Don't get me wrong, Dad is not a child abuser. Dad is the godliest guy I've ever met. Mama, of course, is the exact opposite of my dad. As far as my dad has always been very calm, cool, and collected. Where Mama, she can't even spell calm, cool, and collected. She used to look at me and say, Mark, you just wait till your dad gets home. Dad always came home. He'd walk through the door from work, and the first thing he'd hear is, Charles, you've got to talk to Mark. I remember one time when I was 8, and my brother was 10. I was in the kitchen minding my own business, when all of a sudden, my older brother, Mr. Perfect, came walking through with that look on his face. Have you ever seen anyone with that look? It's the look that says, I need to be slapped. So what was I to do? I walked up to him and slapped him. The next thing I knew, I was wrestling on the ground with Mr. Perfect. He had his hand on my throat. I was pounding him in the face. We were having a wonderful time. That is, until Mama had enough. She said that a lot. Mark, I've just about had enough. Well, Mama, there's plenty more. Help yourself. This particular day, I wasn't too big to be spanked. And while we were having a great time knocking over kitchen chairs and bouncing off the kitchen table, Mama was in the kitchen too, washing dishes. We hardly knew she was there. That is, until... I failed. Lord, forgive me for failing with these boys. My brother and I quit fighting. Mama was throwing a fit. Then all of a sudden the phone started ringing. I remember thinking, I wonder who's going to get the phone. It sure wasn't going to be me or my brother. And that left Mama. I can't believe the way you boys treat me. I went through the valley of the shadow of death to give birth to you. And between the two of you, I've been in labor half my life. And you boys treat me like, hello? Oh. I still can't figure out how she did that. I remember the last spanking I got was on my way to school one morning. I don't remember what it was about, but I know how it ended. Mark, I'm going to tell your father. I was thinking, yeah, right, she'll forget. She didn't. I went on to school that morning. After school, my dad would always come and pick me up because we were always on our way to church. Don't think I didn't try to get out of going to church like any normal kid would do. Many times I'd say, Daddy, I'm too sick to go to church.
Throw up and prove it.
And if I couldn't throw up, we went to church. And if I did throw up, ugh.
There now, don't you feel better? Let's go to church.
And that is a very important part of this story. Because I came out of school thinking we were going to church, like we had been for the past 15 years I'd been in the family. I walked up to the car and said, Daddy, can I drive to...
Get in the car.
Get in the car? All of a sudden I remembered what I had done. I started praying, oh dear Jesus, come quickly.
Mark, do you remember sassing your mother this morning?
Yes, sir.
We're not going to church. I'm going to have to take you home, and I'm going to half-kill you.
Have you ever been half-killed? I remember thinking, what am I going to do? What am I going to do? And then all of a sudden a thought dawned on me. A college student had once told me, Mark, the next time you get a spanking, try mind over matter. It's something I learned in college. Grab a blanket, bite the blanket, concentrate on the blanket, and you won't even feel what your dad's doing down south. Now, when I was 15, I thought all college students were brilliant. I'm here to tell you, they ain't. When we got home, Dad said what he always said.
Go upstairs and prepare for your spanking.
I still don't have any idea what that means. That started with my older brother, Mr. Perfect. He knew what it meant. Go into your room, cry, think about what you've done, and try to figure out a way to where you'll never, ever, ever, ever do that again. But nobody ever explained that to me. So when Dad said go upstairs and prepare, I'd prepare. I'd put on 17 pairs of underwear, and then I'd grab pants and I'd pull it over that. And Dad would come in to whip his deformed-looking son. But this time I thought, nope, that college student told me to bite the blanket, so that's what I'm gonna do. For the next 30 minutes, I crammed this fuzzy University of Houston blanket down my throat. Most of the blanket was in my digestive tract before Dad ever entered the room. I heard my dad coming upstairs. It sounded like this. Boom! Boom! Boom!
Son, this is going to hurt me more than it hurts you.
Every time he'd say that, I'd be thinking, well, if that's the case, let's trade places. But I never said it. And then I heard the sound that to this day still puts goosebumps up and down my spine. It's the sound of your dad's belt flying from his belt loops. You hear that, and you know judgment time has come. The worst part of that night's whipping wasn't the whipping. It was the advice that that college student gave me. For 3 days I coughed up fur balls and picked fuzz from my braces. So hot here. Good. Thank you so much for judging. Hey, thank you, man, for judging. Yeah, Ben.